Hey, friends, welcome back to another episode of Thriving Thoughts. I'm your host, Dr. Sherri. It's so good to have you back with me for another monologue episode for season 5, Thriving with Your Ride or Die. And this week, we are going to learn a lesson together on having confidence in confession. It is impossible to thrive in friendship without offering ourselves as a sacrifice. Yes, friendship is a sacrifice, true friendship, right? Because how many times, if you think about your friends, you think about the times maybe that you felt, why doesn't this person sacrifice for me? I bend over backwards for them, but they can't bend an inch for me. Well, one, friends, it's probably not your person, not your friend, right? But two, that's an indication that there is a prerequisite of sacrifice offered by both parties in a friendship in order to have a fulfilling, thriving, true friendship. But let's talk about you and your role today in your friendships. I promised you that this season was going to be filled with opportunities for you to practice developing and growing yourself so that you can be the best friend that you can be. I've heard people say, if you want a good friend, you got to be one first, right? Yes. Well, friends, this is your opportunity. This show is never about other people. It's never about other people and how they've wronged you, but it's always about you and how you can change the world around you. I've recently gotten into Instagram reels. And there's this one, and it's pretty awesome. But she says, you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. And that's what they do, right? They do like this mind blown thing. And nothing could be closer to the truth. Friends, you cannot change other people, but you can change who's around you, and you can change how you show up in friendship. Today is all about how you can have confidence and not fear in confession. Confession sounds like a convoluted word, right? Kind of like a religious word, confession. But I want you to think of confession as sharing vulnerably with truth. So it's taking what's inside of you that you know to be true about you. It is being brave, vulnerable, to share that with somebody. For sake of brevity, I've chosen to use the word confession. Today, you are going to learn 3 benefits of confession, 3 benefits of offering yourself as a sacrifice of confession in your friendship in order to thrive. But before we do that, let's talk about why we don't confess. We have unreasonable expectations that there is, one, something wrong with us. And if we were to share that secret thing that's inside, we would be found out. Maybe we're an imposter. Maybe there's something wrong with us. Maybe we don't belong. We have an unreasonable, yes, unreasonable fear of being found out, of being deficient in some way. And so we keep things to ourselves. Unfortunately, that exacerbates the prevalent feeling of being alone. Every one of us has demons, and I use the word demons very loosely, again, not in a religious context, but every one of us has things that tend to follow us around, and struggles. You might use that word struggle. I say it's opportunities for growth, but every one of us has something that is a growth opportunity for us. And we were never designed to carry those inner struggles, challenges, demons, opportunities to grow. We were never designed to handle those alone. Now, you know that I model everything that I share with you off of my relationship with God. And I know that there is value, there is benefit, which I'm going to share with you in confession, in my confession with God. But what he's taught me is that there's tremendous value in confession from person to person. And I'm not talking about, like a religious priest or something like that. No, I'm talking about the value of confession in an intimate friendship, confession with the people with whom you do life. But because we have fear of being judged, of being labeled as somehow deficient, of being an imposter, we keep those things to ourselves. And what they do is they fester. They fester inside of us and they allow us to start leaning on those lies, the lies of fear of being wrong, of being found out. We start to believe those as truth, and they dig deeper and deeper roots into our lives without confession because we're covering ourselves. There is not a congruence between who we're trying to be on the outside and who we are on the inside. And so, how do we sacrifice ourselves for the sake of ourselves, really, for the sake of a thriving friendship? We become authentic. That means with that person, not with the world, people, not with your entire 1,500 Facebook friends. No, that is not the place for confession because you will be insulted and hurt if you do that. Your confessional is in the intimate space of you and your safe friend. Being authentic means that you take off your mask and you reveal what's underneath. You stop covering yourself. You stop hiding in shame. You're willing to offer up the truth about you and the thoughts that go on in your head. And let me tell you something, as a clinical psychologist, just to backtrack, how do I know this? I know this one from personal experience with my friends. I'm going to share that with you in just a moment from a conversation I had yesterday. But I remember one of the most powerful things about confession from a therapeutic perspective is when somebody would say something to me, reveal, uncover something about themselves, share something vulnerably in truth, that confession, when they would do that and I would not react in surprise or disgust or disdain, there was a sense of relief that filled the room. We say we want good friends, loyal friends, but are we willing to pay the price of being in a ride or die relationship that allows us to thrive, to grow, flourish, and prosper? Are we willing to sacrifice our true selves? Are we willing to be authentic? I want you to think about the last time that you maybe told somebody something in confidence, and hopefully it was a good experience. But I want you to think about, and it might be even now, maybe you're thinking about sharing something with somebody and you're a little fearful. What are you feeling? What were you feeling? Are you feeling anxious, scared, nervous, doubtful? What are the feelings going through you? Get to know you. This is an opportunity to thrive. Now, what are the thoughts that are going through your mind or did go through your mind before you shared? Were you asking yourself questions like, what are they going to think of me? Will this change their opinion of me? Will they still love me? If you're asking any of those questions, you know what I'm going to say. It's time to answer your what ifs. Answer your what ifs so they stop having power over you and so that you have the ability to step confidently into confession, which is a necessity for authentic, thriving friendship. Okay, let's talk really briefly about who you confess to. This episode is not dedicated to selecting your friends. This is dedicated to knowing how to confess in your current intimate friendships that you see as your ride or die. But here's the barometer. Here's the questions. Do you feel safe? When those questions come up, is this person still going to love me? Are they still going to think the same of me? Do you say, well, maybe they'll think differently of me, but I know they're still going to love me and they're going to walk with me through this? If you respond to your what ifs in that way, then that means that you feel safe with that person. If there's any part of you that doesn't feel safe, that's not your person with whom to share your confession. If you feel like you've shared vulnerably in truth with somebody in the past, and then they've kind of dropped you on your head, they didn't follow up with you about that thing, they make every conversation about themselves, they don't follow up with you to make sure that you are growing, flourishing, and prospering based on the information that you so vulnerably shared with them. Don't go back to that person. Don't go back to that person who disappointed you, who did not offer you what you needed in confession. They might still be a friend. That doesn't mean you need to cut them out of your life, but it means they're not your confessing friend. So now, the heart of the episode, 3 benefits of confession. so that you can have confidence in confessing to your ride or die. The first is physical healing. Yes, physical healing. Have you ever had something just literally eating away at you inside and you're thinking, I just got to get this off my chest. It's making me sick to my stomach. All of these references to the body. I got to get this off my chest. I'm sick to my stomach. I feel like I have constant butterflies. We have a strong mind body connection. And when we confess something that's on our minds, the tension in our minds that has bled its way into our bodies is also released. There is physical healing. And I'm going to share my parallel about the relationship with God and the evidence, the scriptural evidence for that. In Psalm 32:3, it says, when I refused to confess my sin, my body wasted away and I groaned all day long. Now, I'm not saying that what you have to confess is sin. What I'm saying is that if there's something going on inside of you, you were not designed to carry that alone. Use this opportunity to engage your ride or die friend to walk with you through that process. Because listen, when you share, that thing can no longer fester. It can no longer be a mass that is growing day by day, like a cancerous mass inside of you. Confess to your safe person, be authentic with them, and gain physical healing. Number 2, when you confess, you give your friend an opportunity to feel like a friend, to feel like your ride or die, to be trusted, to be loved, the ability to be treasured and regarded because you're sharing your treasure, your secrets, you're confessing vulnerably. And that gives them the opportunity not only to feel trusted, but to be an encourager to you. So that pays off in dividends to you, right? Give somebody the opportunity to have words that speak life to you. Another scripture that I love in the book of Proverbs, which interestingly enough, I'm doing a walkthrough over on the Proverbial Masterminds YouTube channel. Check that out. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 24. Kind words are like honey, sweet to the soul and healthy for the body. There it is again. See, we're talking this mind-body connection, right? So words sweet to the soul. Give your friend the opportunity to be an encourager to you. Give your friend the opportunity to be the one who offers you relief from that feeling of being alone, marginalized, or fearing that you are somehow an imposter or deficient. Give them the ability to be that balm to you. Number 3, you gain peace of mind. How many of us are searching for peace of mind right now? Most of the time, we don't have peace of mind because there is not a congruence, not a matching of what's going on inside with what's going on outside. And we fear that nobody's going to understand us. But listen, as soon as we share vulnerably in truth with our safe person, giving them the opportunity to be the healing balm that we need, a weight is suddenly lifted. We don't feel as alone. Now we begin to replace those lies of there's something wrong with me with there's nothing wrong with me. The lie of I'm so alone, nobody would understand with I'm so glad I have this ride or die friend who's encouraging me and giving me this sense of relief. Knowing that you're loved, knowing that you're not abandoned in the messy stuff, knowing that you can stop hiding. And when you stop hiding and you get that physical healing and you allow your friend to be the gift that they can be to you, the gift of encouragement, the gift of relief, and you have this peace of mind because now that guilt and shame is no longer growing like a mass inside of you. It's like you've opened up a gas pocket and let it all escape. I'm going to close out today with a story, my own personal experience of gaining confidence in confession. Yesterday, I was talking with a friend, and this friend and I, we talk once a week, and we haven't even known each other that long. But I believe we're a great source of encouragement to one another, particularly spiritually encouraging to one another. And yesterday, I shared something with her that I haven't shared with anyone in my life. And it was really all of those things. All of those things happened for me at once. It was physically healing. There was a weight that was lifted. I had peace of mind. I gave her the opportunity to feel like an encourager, like a ride or die spiritual friend In fact, she said that. She said, thank you for trusting me. The other thing that happened for me that I believe can happen for you, the more you dive into this thriving thought world, is that I learned something. In my confession of that thing, I learned how I could use that thing to grow, flourish, and prosper for myself. But it was like I needed to process that outside of myself in order to gain that nugget of wisdom. That can happen for you too today, my friends. I desire for you physical healing. I desire for you peace of mind. I desire for you to be in an intimate ride or die friendship where you can share vulnerably in truth and gain confidence through confession. Don't forget to share your biggest takeaway from today's episode on your Instagram story. Tag at Dr. Speaks. Use the hashtag Thriving Thoughts with Dr. Sherri, and you'll be entered into a drawing to win a personally signed copy of my book. And there it is, Breakup Breakthroughs. Also, remember, you have an opportunity to be a member of my Thriving Thoughts texting community. That's right. All you need to do is text the word THRIVE to 540-369-2139. You get to try it free for 14 days. You have nothing to lose and everything thriving to gain. Friends, I'm grateful for your listening support. If this episode has encouraged you, please share it with a friend. If you're an Apple Podcast user, go ahead and rate the show 5 stars. Help us get in front of more people who need to know what it's like to have friendships and be in friendships that thrive. Until Tuesday with another interview with 2 more ride or dies, remember to speak truth over the lies. And I promise you'll thrive in any and every circumstance.